like who, whose, etc. Anyone?
Can I?
Yes, sure, sure.
The book that I bought yesterday was expensive.
आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you very clearly.
The book that I was bought yesterday is expensive.
The book that I bought yesterday, well, that's a pronoun. Yes, that's correct. I am talking about relative pronouns.
Sir, may I?
That's a correct pronoun. You're right about it. I is fine. Yep, please go ahead.
I know the man who came to you.
Very good.
Okay.
Here,
Excellent.
who is relative pronoun?
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Thank you.
Can I,
Thank you.
sir?
Yes, sure, sure. Please, everyone.
The musician then won the award is Indian.
The musician who?
That the musician that won the award is Indian.
So we use that and this or that for objects largely. So the musician who won the award is an Indian. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You'll use who in this case. So the musician who won the award is an Indian, is a British national, is an Indian. All right. So who is appropriate? Any other pronouns, guys, with whom, which, whose, before I start the topic?
This is the dog which bit me.
You can say that. Yes. Yes, we use it for animals as well, right? So this is the dog which, or this is the dog that bit me. Okay.
Is Rahul is the person with whom you were wandering yesterday?
Bonding. All right. So is Rahul the person with whom you were bonding yesterday? It's fine. Third person. Whom is used for third person. You're right. Very good. Good example. Yes. Someone who's not there. You're talking about the third person.
Whom I spoke was able to help.
Sorry, आपकी आवाज break हो रही. Guys, any sentences on the chat? I'm waiting.
Whom I spoke was able to help me.
The person whom I spoke to was able to help me. That's fine. Good. Some good sentence. There are some sentences here. It is the laptop which this is. So you'd say it is. This is the laptop which I like more. All right, or which I like the most. Okay. This is the laptop which I like the most. Or this is the laptop which I bought from this store or that store. Okay. So good sentences, guys. Let's have a look at. Yeah, I'm just looking at some sentences here. I want to. What the chain, which is okay. I want to buy. I'll just correct some of the sentences on the chat. I want to buy that chain which is in the mall, or the chain which is in the mall. Okay, which is in that mall. Okay. So welcome, guys. I can see a lot of our pro learners have just joined. So welcome. We'll try and keep it engaging. Try करेंगे सबको chance मिले answer देने का, questions पूछने का, या just to read the sentences. Okay. So one person who answers, kindly allow the other person to answer, and we'll continue. We'll take turns. I request everyone to participate. Y'all don't have to ask me. Y'all can just unmute and answer. Okay. So let's start with relative pronouns. Good examples. Spoke with her. I spoke to her. Spoke to her is better. All right. Let's continue. Let's start with the topic. Okay. Can someone read this, please?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Relative clauses help connect two separate ideas which might be expressed in two separate sentences. For example, a girl is talking to Tom. Do you know the girl? Do you know the girl who is talking to Tom? Who is a relative pronoun here?
Very good. Very good. A girl is talking to Tom is a complete sentence, right? Do you know the girl is also a complete sentence. It's a question, right? Just give me a moment, guys. Some of our learners are joining. I'll quickly let them in. Yeah, okay, thank you. Relative clauses help us help connect two separate ideas which might be expressed in two separate sentences. Example, a girl is talking to Tom. Perfect, grammatically correct sentence. Do you know the girl? You don't have to make two sentences basically. Both are grammatically correct. However, you can just say, do you know the girl who is talking to Tom? Okay, do you know the girl who is talking to Tom? Who is the relative pronoun here? Okay. Let's have a look at some examples. Can someone read this? Next person.
Relative pronouns are subject type, who, which, that, object type, whom, which, that, possessive type, whose.
Very good. Very good. So I'll explain this. All right. Which book is he reading? Yes, that's his correct. Relative types of relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are subjective type. Subject, who, which, that. That is subject, right? Objective, who, which, that again. Possessive, whose. The reason we say possessive is you possess something, whose car, whose house, all right? Now let me quickly explain why do we categorize these as the way they are, okay? Quick explanation here. Who, just hear me out. Who refers to a person as, just try and understand, as the verb's subject, okay? Whom refers as the verb's object. I will explain with some examples later. Just hear me out. I repeat, who refers to a person as the verb's subject. Whom refers to the person as the verb's object. There's a difference. Which refers to an animal or thing. Okay. Which refers to an animal or thing. What refers to a non-living thing. So a lot of times you can understand that we can interchange which and what, because it is for, and also that, because that again is used for, it can refer to a person, an animal, or a thing. So that's the subtle difference. Okay, I repeat. Who refers to a person as the verb's subject. Whom refers to a person as the verb's object. Which refers to an animal or thing. What refers to a non-living thing. And that refers to a person or thing. Okay, I'll give some examples here. Let's have a look at the first example where we use who. Okay, look at this example here. The woman who came to the door left flowers for you. Here refers to a person as the verb's subject, is the subject. Okay, let's use whom as the object of the verb. Second example, I am not sure whom this book belongs to. Here we are using the person as the object, as the verb's object. Okay, so these are the subtle differences. Which, what, and that is largely easier to understand. You just have to understand the context of the sentence. I'll quickly type in some sentences here. Okay. Is this what you were talking about? She finally visited the coffee shop that had such great reviews. Okay. Interpretative dance, which I find a bit disconcerting, is all the rage. This is one of the sentences with which you can make easier sentences, simple sentences. We'll have a look at some of the examples here. Just give me a moment. Okay. This is the house which my father built. Okay. This is the house which my father built. Make sense? Okay. So subjective type, who, which, that. Objective type, whom, which, that. Possessive type, whose. Let's have a look at some examples. Let's start. Can someone read the next slide, please? Someone who's just joined, not had the opportunity, one of our pro learners. Someone who's just joined, Suresh, Sanjay, Satya, Sonam, Divya,
Use
Subhadeep.
relative, yes.
Yep, sure.
Use relative clauses to provide extra information. This information can either define something, define clause, or provide unnecessary but interesting added information, non-defining clause. Defining clause. The information provided in a defining relative clause is crucial in understanding the meaning of the sentence. Example, the girl who works in the HR team has been awarded as the employee of the year. Without the information, the girl has been awarded as the employee of the year could mean any girl.
Last part, who? Are you able to scroll down?
I can, sir.
No problem. That's okay. I'll read the last part. It says, who is the relative pronoun in the sentence given above? The purpose of a defining relative clause is to clearly define who or what we are talking about. Without this information, it would be difficult to know who or what is meant. Good example, this. Defining clause, the name itself indicates something that is defined. It's defining. The information provided in a defining relative clause is crucial in understanding the meaning of the sentence. If I remove the girl, just say who works in the HR team has been awarded as the employee of the year. It's an incomplete sentence, of course. The moment I use the girl who works in the HR team, you understand that who refers to the girl, all right, here. Without that information, the girl has been awarded as the employee of the year could mean any girl. Very good example, this, guys. If I read the sentence as, the girl has been awarded the employee of the year, could mean any girl, all right? Here, we are specifying that, we are defining the fact that that girl or the girl who works in the HR team, not in the operations team, not in the logistics team, specifically the one who works in the HR team has been awarded the employee of the year. Who is the relative pronoun in the sentence given above? To clearly define who or what we are talking about. Make sense? Let's continue. Can someone else read the next one? Someone who's just joined, not had the opportunity, guys, please unmute and read the next one.
Non-defining clause. Non-defining relative clauses provide interesting additional information which is not essential to understanding the meaning of the sentence. For example, Adam Samuel, who is very handsome, lives on the corner. Who is a relative pronoun in the sentence given above? Using commas, if the non-defining relative clause occurs in the middle of a sentence, a comma is put. दिख नहीं रहा है इसके बाद.
Oh, is it? Scroll करेंगे ऊपर. I think scroll up, scroll down. Does it work? Now?
No, sir.
No. I think आपको screen change करनी होगी या तो scroll up and scroll down. I don't know if there is an issue. Is that an issue with everyone, guys? Others?
Yes, sir. Same issue.
Can't see.
No, sir.
No, okay.
Cannot see.
Well, I'll escalate this. I'll escalate it. Also, I'll request you all to send an email with the screenshots to premium@helloenglish.com. Okay. Just take a screenshot and send it stating that you can't scroll up and down. What happens is largely we have questions, right? So वो limited space में complete हो जाता है. Text कम होता है. ज़्यादातर exercises जो है वो basically topics जो है those are exercise based. So the content is not so much, right? It's not defined like this. So that could be the reason. I'll read this for y'all. Please send a screenshot to premium@helloenglish.com. All right, we'll look into it. I'll also escalate it to our technical team. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that. So Adam Samuel, who is very handsome, lives on the corner. Who is a relative pronoun in the sentence given above, using commas. It's very important, guys. If the non-defining relative clause occurs in the middle of a sentence, a comma is put before the relative pronoun and at the end of the clause. If the non-defining relative clause occurs at the end of the sentence, a comma is put before the relative pronoun. Note that there are no commas in defining clauses. Let's go to the previous one a bit. This is a defining clause. The girl who works in the HR team has been awarded as the employee of the year. There's no need for a comma here, right? It's a defining clause, the girl who works. Here it's a non-defining clause, provides interesting additional information which is not essential to understanding the meaning of the sentence. Here the difference is this information can either define or provide unnecessary but interesting added information, an extra information that is. But here the information provided in a defining relative clause is crucial in understanding the meaning. Why? You can understand from the example. The girl has been awarded as the employee of the year. We are not able to understand without adding who works in the HR team. Hence, this is a defining clause. We don't need the comma. It's not an additional or extra information. This is something crucial to this sentence. The second one, even if I remove who is very handsome, if I say Adam Samuel lives on the corner, it's a perfectly fine, grammatically correct sentence. This is how you understand why the comma is necessary. If you remove the non-defining clause here, who is very handsome, you remove the two commas, it's still a grammatically correct sentence, right? Right, guys? You all with me? Are you all with me? Yeah, okay, good. So that's why to break the sentence, to add an additional information, some additional interesting information, which is not essential, but you just want to add some information. Adam Samuel, who is very handsome, who works at a bank or who plays football, lives on the corner. Who is the captain of the club team, lives on the corner. So here you are talking, the essential part here is you are talking about where does he live. He lives on the corner. The middle part of the sentence is not essential. Still, if you are mentioning it, it's important to mention the comma. Okay. Great. Thank you. Let's continue. Next slide. Can someone read the next one, please? Someone who's just joined, not had the opportunity. Others, guys, Sanjay, Divya, Suresh, Subhadeep, Sonam, guys, please.
We use who and whom for people and which for things. We can use that for people or things. We use relative pronouns in defining clauses after a noun to make it clear which person or thing we are talking about. Example, the dress that Emmy designed. The man Emmy designed. The man who invented the light bulb.
Yeah.
In non-defining clauses to tell us more about a person or things. For example, my mother, who was born in Mumbai, has always been a great traveler. Sir, I can't
No problem. No problem.
see
That's
the
fine. Thank you.
later.
That's fine. No problem. Leonardo DiCaprio, who is 41, has just won an Oscar. It happened a couple of years ago. So, but we do not use that as a subject in non-defining clauses. That can never be used in non-defining clauses. My aunt that lived in London gave me the address. Give me the red dress is incorrect, guys. Please try and understand the sentences. I understand that if you are coming across the concept for the first time, it can be too much for one session. That's fine. Just make a note of the sentences. Try and understand the basics. You have time over the weekend. Please practice in your free time. Just practice the relative pronouns. The session is to give you a basic idea. I'll try my best to explain as much as possible. However, we also have to get on with the topic and complete the exercises as well, right? So the idea is to introduce a new topic, give explanations about that. Please make a note. If you find it a little difficult to understand, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it, okay? So let's continue. We are talking about who. The moment I say my mother that was born in Mumbai is incorrect. We don't use that for persons, right? We use who and whom for people, which for things, that for people or things in a different context. We'll look at that, okay? But not in this non-defining clause or defining clause here, okay? In defining clause, we use that, the dress that Amy designed, the man who invented the light bulb. Makes sense. Let's continue. Can someone read the next one, please? Whose means possession. Please remember this.
We use whose as the possessive form of who. Example, this is Adam, whose sister I want to school with.
I
We,
went to. Yeah.
we sometimes use whom as the object of a verb or preposition. Example, this is Amy, whom you met at the mall last week. This is Adam's sister with whom I want to school. However, in modern English, it is common to sir, नीचे का-
Use who, yeah. So, however, in modern English, guys, it says, however, in modern English, it is common to use who and whom interchangeably. That happens all the time while we are speaking. This is Amy, who you met at the mall last week. Largely, what happens is, guys, if the person, what I would look at it, the way in which I would look at it is the same sentence. This is Amy, whom you met at the mall last week. This is Amy, who you met at the mall last week. If Amy is with you at that moment, I'd prefer to use who, all right? I'd prefer to use who. If Amy, you are referring to Amy in a picture, or you are talking about something that Amy had done, or just remembering the person, I would use it as whom, as a third person who is not present at that moment. Make sense, guys? Make sense? So I would largely use who if the person is with you at that moment. If the third person is not with you at that point of time, you can use whom. In modern English, it is used interchangeably. However, I'd still try and differentiate. One of the other ways in which you can differentiate, I'll give some examples. Just give me a moment. I'll try and give some examples if I can. Just give me a moment. Okay. Let's have a look at some examples. And in the meantime, I will share some examples about who and whom. Let's continue. Can someone else read the next slide, please?
I had aunt in London that I borrowed this dress from means I had an aunt in London from who I borrowed this dress means I had an aunt in London whom I borrowed this dress from. Note, with whom, yeah, which the preposition can come at the beginning or at the end of the clause. With that, the preposition can only come in the end.
Very good. Thank you. So I had an aunt in London that I borrowed this dress from means I had an aunt in London from whom I borrowed this dress. Means I had an aunt in London whom I borrowed this dress from. Note, with whom, who, which, the preposition can come at the beginning or at the end of the clause. With that, the preposition can only come in the end. So I had an aunt in London from that I borrowed this dress is incorrect. All right. Since the preposition from should come at the end of the clause. So for example, I had an aunt in London that I borrowed this dress from. Okay. Now let me share some examples here with who and whom. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
this is the boy that gave you the good news. Is it right?
This is the boy who gave you the good news is better.
That
Who gave you the good news? This is the boy who gave you the good news. Yeah. You are using who here in this context. Where were we? You remember the first one in a defining clause. Yeah, defining clause is crucial, right? This is the boy who, similar to this one, who works. So the defining clause is very important information, right? Who gave you the news or whatever. So it's a defining clause. So it prefer to use who, not that. Okay. I'll give some examples here. So yes, guys, I've typed something on the chat. Please read that. I'll type it on Zoom as well. For the benefit of our pro learners, I'll type it on Zoom chat as well. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. I'll quickly read this and then we'll continue. Please remember, whom is used to refer to the object of a verb or preposition. When in doubt, try this simple trick. If you can replace the word with he or she, use who. If you can replace it with him or her, use whom. Okay, let's have a look at the previous example here. Sorry. Oh, my bad. Just a moment. Guys, can you see the live session or no? Guys, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
You can?
Yes, sir.
You can? Okay, okay.
Page number 6.
6? Okay, great. Thank you. Just a moment. I think we auto refreshed probably. I mistakenly clicked the something else. So sorry for that. Just give me a moment. Let me quickly check. Is anyone checking this on YouTube? Okay. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Just give me a moment. All right, guys. Yes, you all can see it on the 6th page. That's good. Very good. So I was just mentioning the simple trick is if you can replace the word he or she, use who. If you can replace it with him or her, use whom. This is Amy, whom you met at the mall last week. You met her at the mall last week, or this is Amy, who you met at the mall last week. Two examples here. So basically that, try and remember who is used to refer to the subject of a sentence, whom is used to refer to the object of a verb or a preposition. Okay, let's say example, who would you like to, thank you, who would you like to go on vacation with? Okay, it's understood. to whom was the letter addressed? Make sense? The third person. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you. I know that. So yeah, I hope you all are able to see the sentences on the chat. Okay. So let's have a look at some examples. It will be easier to understand. So we discussed this about the aunt. I had an aunt in London. From that, I borrowed the dress. Is incorrect. I had an aunt in London that I borrowed this dress from means I had an aunt in London from whom I borrowed this dress. So remember that. Okay. Let's have a look at some examples and we'll try and understand. Great. Yes, guys. Can someone quickly answer this? Guys, please select the answers.
Which are that, sir? It is the invoice which you sent us last week. It is the invoice that you sent us last week.
Both are grammatically correct. As
Both
I
are.
mentioned earlier, a lot of times which and that can be used for the same sentence. Makes sense. All right. Okay. So let's continue. Good answer. Thank you. So it's the invoice that or which you sent last week. Next one, guys. Can someone answer this? Next person, please. Someone who's not had the opportunity, someone who just joined. Which is the grammatically correct sentence? Shorten the sentences. So short kijiye sentence ko. Those sentences. Is a consultant. I rely on his advice. I depend on his advice, basically. What is the correct one?
Fourth option, sir. He is the consultant whose advice I rely upon.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else, guys?
सेकंड नहीं होगा.
Okay. I think he answered the correct one. He is a consultant is used here. So here you are specifying something, right? The moment you say he's a consultant, we know he is a consultant, but you are using the definite article. Why? Because you are defining. We discussed something about the defining clause, right? You're defining the fact that he is the consultant. He is a consultant is fine, is grammatically correct. However, it's an indefinite article. We use a definite article when we want to define something as this is the book that I was talking about. You will not say this is a book that I was talking about, right? Make sense, guys? Make sense? Someone who spoke about he's a consultant, why there's a difference. Are you able to understand why the is important? In the two sentences, you are merely stating he is a consultant. In the other sentence, you are stating I rely on his advice. I want to emphasize on the point that he is the consultant on whose advice I rely upon. I might be in touch with 10 different consultants. Make sense, guys? Are you all with me? Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
There, I might be in contact with 5 or 10 different consultants. I'm talking specifically, all of them are consultants. He's a consultant, he's a consultant, he's a consultant. I'm talking specifically about that one consultant whose advice I rely upon. Hence, the fourth one is grammatically correct. The is used as a definite article. Please remember, guys. So fourth one, yes. Good answers on the chat, guys. Yes. Very good. Thank you. Let's continue. Yes, someone else who's not had the opportunity, please answer the next one.
Fourth one, sir. No, third one, sir.
Yep.
Who are whom?
Can you read the sentence?
Jamie, who are whom? We met yesterday. Is very nice.
Very good. I would still prefer whom. I'd still prefer whom. Here you clearly understand from the sentence that the person is a third person, is not with you at the moment, right? I'd still prefer to use whom. Why? Because you can use it as replace it with him or her, okay? I met him yesterday. What if I say I met him? Okay, let me make this sentence easier. Jamie is a very nice person. Okay, Jamie is a very nice person. I met him. You'll say I met him or he yesterday. Guys, what is correct? If I say Jamie is a very nice person, one sentence. The other sentence, I met he or met him yesterday. What is correct?
Him.
Him, right? I met him yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Also, here Jamie is used to refer to the object of a verb or a preposition in this case. Okay. I'd still prefer to use whom in this case. Okay. Okay. I hope makes sense, guys. Okay. So I'd still prefer to use whom, and it clearly indicates the fact that the person is not with you at the moment. Okay. Clearly is not with you at the moment. Okay. So you prefer to use whom in this case. Let's have a look at some more examples. Okay. Yes, guys. The next one. Can someone answer? Someone who's just joined, not had the opportunity.
I don't like the table which or that stands in the kitchen.
Okay. Guys, there's a sound in the background. Others can just be on mute, please. Thank you. Yes, please continue. Can you read the sentence again? Didn't hear it clearly.
I don't like the table which or that stands in the kitchen.
What stands in the kitchen? That stands in the kitchen. Both are fine. Both indicate or both are talking about that one particular table. I don't like the table that stands in the kitchen. Perfectly fine. Next one.
The people who were that were stopped at the border, we were all the Eastern Europe.
Good. Yeah. Yes, I was coming to this. If you guys remember, I spoken about where do we use that? We use that as a collective. Here when we talk about people, we are talking about a group, right? We're talking about that group, right? So the people who and that both are grammatically correct in this case. If you talk about the reason we use who is the people who were stopped at the border were all from Eastern Europe. Why both who and that are correct in this case? Can someone explain? Can someone quickly tell me? When do we use who for people? When do we use who for people? I gave an example about using as a group of people. Here, the people from Eastern Europe, what do we call them? People from Eastern Europe, what do we call them? What do we call people from India?
Migrants.
No, I mean, what do we call them? What do we call people from India? Living in India, Indians, right? Similarly, what do we call people from Eastern Europe?
Because living in Europe.
Eastern Europeans, right? Yes, very good. Eastern Europeans, right? Eastern Europeans means a group, right? So we use who for people when we are talking about a group, a sect, ethnicity, right? So a group of people we refer as who. Why? Because it clearly defines the entire group. So both are grammatically correct. The people who were stopped at the border were all from Eastern Europe, or the people that were stopped at the border were all from Eastern Europe. Okay? So both are grammatically correct here. Let's have a look at some more examples. Can someone quickly read this?
How to shorten relative clauses. Relative clauses with who, which, that as subject pronoun can be replaced with the participle. This makes the sentence shorter and easier to understand. For example, I told you about the omen who lives next door. I told you about the woman living next door.
Very good. Thank you. I told you about the woman who lives next door. I told you about the woman living next door. Okay. So relative clause with who, which, that as subject pronoun can be replaced with the participle live, lives. This makes the sentence shorter and easier to understand. I told you about the woman living next door. I told you about the woman who lives next door, specifically about the woman who lives next door. Okay. Let's have a look at some examples to understand this. Can someone answer the next one, please? Quickly, someone who's just joined, not had the opportunity, please answer.
Second one.
Thank you. Can you read the sentence, please?
They had 4 children, all of whom went to university.
Thank you. So, yeah, they had 4 children, all of whom went to the university. Makes easy. It's not his or that, all of that. No, you're talking about people, right? So all of whom went to the university. Okay. So here we are using what do we use in place of him or her? How do you know that? What is the other substitute for whom here? How do you understand it's whom and not whose or who?
Him, her, and they.
Very good. Very good. Them makes sense here. All of them, if I say all of them went to the university, is a correct sentence? Makes sense? So you can replace this with whom with him, her, or they, or them, right? They had 4 children, all of them went to the university. Makes sense? Grammatically, is correct. So that's why whom is correct here. Okay. You wouldn't say all of they went to the university, right? So he, her, okay, he or they would not make sense here. You wouldn't say all of they went to the university. You'd say all of them went to the university. Correct? Make sense? So that's why whom is appropriate here. Okay. Let's have a look at the next one. Next one, guys.
Couldn't speak English, which but not that surprised me.
Thank you. Thank you. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm just answering. So, guys, there's something like Eastern Europe means Occidental. Occidental can mean relating to countries in the West or inhabitants of the West. However, West can mean any Western country. Here, specifically, we are talking about Europe, East European countries, right? So that's the reason we stuck to East European. Okay. What are East European countries? Regions in the east of Europe, right? Like we have countries like Belarus, Moldova, okay, Romania, North Macedonia. These are countries in Eastern Europe. Bulgaria, Cyprus. These are considered as countries in Eastern Europe. So that's why they are specifically known as East Europeans. Okay. Okay. He couldn't speak English, which surprised me. The fact that he couldn't speak, you're not talking about he, okay? You're not talking about being surprised about him. We are surprised about what? The fact that the person couldn't speak English, okay? So he couldn't speak English, which surprised me. Okay, is grammatically correct here. Next one, guys. Can someone answer the next one, please?
Which she wrote a best-selling book, the name of which I have completely forgotten.
Very good, excellent, excellent, very good, good answer. We're talking about a particular thing. She wrote a best-selling book, name of which I've completely forgotten. All right.
सर होम कहाँ यूज
जी whom मैं explain किया वो when we are talking about the third person जब हम replace करते हैं him, okay, जब हम replace करते हैं him or her को या them को तब that's when we use whom. Okay, ये example दिया था यहाँ. Okay, they had 4 children, all of whom went to the university. यहाँ पे all of them, if we use all of them went to the university, उसकी जगह पे हम whom use करेंगे. All of whom went to the university. Okay, there was another example here. Jamie, who or whom we met yesterday, is very nice. I'd still use whom here. Okay, the person is not with you. We are talking about him. Okay, Jamie. I met him yesterday. I'd still use whom in place of who. Okay, in modern English, who and whom are interchanged, but you should try and stick to the rules. Okay.
Obviously. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's have a look at a few more. I think we're almost at the end of the topic. Yeah, we are. Well done, guys. Well done. So, guys, in your free time, homework. Okay, homework is relative pronouns. Yes, there was a lot of stuff to read, explain. One session probably is not good enough to cover the entire topic, which is okay. However, the idea is to introduce the concept so that you all can also do some research and practice it in your free time. If time permitted, I would have done some exercises based on that. We still have a few minutes. Let's see if I can type in some quick sentences for relative pronouns, and you all can quickly type some answers on the chat. We still have about 7 minutes. Let's see if we can do that. Just give me a moment. I'll type some sentences. You all can use whose, whom, that, which, where, anything. Whatever you feel is grammatically correct, use it, okay? And for the benefit of our learners who are not able to see the sentences, I'll read the sentences. You all can tell me the answers, okay? So quickly, the leaderboard. Well done, guys. Well done with the answers. The ones who didn't get maximum right, it's okay. We are all here to learn. New concepts take time to understand, take time to get used to. So that's perfectly fine, okay? Let me quickly type some sentences. I've already given the options. I'm not going to type the options again. Who, whose, whom, that, which, where, whatever you feel is grammatically correct, please type in the response. I'll read the sentence. The person dash rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat. I repeat, the person dash rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat. What is the correct answer?
Sir, who, sir? WHOS.
No. I'll continue. Someone has asked a question, whose ke baare mein bataye? Whose means possession. Whose car is it? Okay, simple. Yeah, guys, can someone give me some answers? The person dash rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat. Guys, anyone else? Some other answers? You all can tell me the answers. That's fine. Yes, guys, anyone? I'm waiting for others to type in on the chat. Others can give me the answers here on Zoom. Okay, I can see a lot of answers. Thank you, guys. Here, is it a subject or an object? Please remember, guys, is it a subject or an object? Yes.
I have a book like D.P. Bhattacharya for English grammar.
Okay.
In this book, they use that for a person. How can I understand? Can you explain?
I'll explain that. As I mentioned, we can use that for people or a group of people. Okay. All right.
Okay.
However, using that for people, there are certain rules there. So I'll explain that. I'll come to that. First, can you? Yeah. Yes, that is used for people. As I mentioned at the beginning of the topic as well, that can be used for people. However, it depends. So I'll explain that before we end. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you. Here, what is the answer, guys? Quickly. There are a lot of answers say who. Those answers are absolutely right. Sahi jawab. Okay, so who is correct, guys? Here we are using it as the subject, not as the object. So simple, keep it simple, guys. The person who, you're talking about that person, right? So the person who rang the doorbell, that was a sentence, right? My screen is stuck, unfortunately. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the person who rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat. Grammatically correct sentence. Let's one or two more, and then I'll explain how do we use that for people. Okay. Next sentence, guys. The patient. Okay. The patient dash husband was complaining was very pale.
Whose husband? Whose?
Okay. Why whose?
Possessive.
Okay, very good. Someone else? Any other answers, guys? Pale basically means unwell. Okay, guys. Pale basically means someone who's unwell. His face became pale, right? So someone who's yellow, pale, light colored, who's unwell basically means. Okay. Yes, guys. Any other answers? Okay, a lot of answers. Who's good? Very good. Yeah, whose husband? Yeah. Very good. Good answer. Let's have a look at this one. Here, there can be, I think, more than one. Next one is just last sentence, and then I'll quickly explain. She pointed to a black car. Dash was parked next to hers.
Which or that?
Okay. Okay, very good. Which or that? Yeah. It's not who or whose, because she pointed to a black car. Who or whose is incorrect. We're not talking about the person. We're talking about the car. So she pointed to a black car. Car is a thing. So you can use which or that. Okay. Yes, you were asking me about using that for a person. Can you give me some examples mentioned there? I can quickly explain.
This is the man that I saw yesterday.
Okay. This is the man that I saw yesterday. It's not incorrect. That's fine. Any other examples?
Who is it that has done this?
That's fine. That's perfectly fine, because who is it that has done this? You're talking about who is it that has done something, right? So that's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Any man that has once seen him has come to love him.
That's perfectly fine. So here, if you notice, you are talking specifically about, what was the first sentence that you read?
So it was, this is the man that I saw yesterday.
This is the man that I saw yesterday. Can you replace that with who in this sentence?
This is the man.
Who
Whom
or
I
whom?
saw
This is the man whom I saw yesterday. Is it correct?
So I think
It's correct. It's correct.
it's correct.
It's correct, right? Or for example, if I say, let's say we talk about a group. We talk about a group like politicians, writers, okay, academics, teachers. You talk about a group, you can use that. In that context, the man that is also perfectly fine. He's basically defining, as I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, that can also be used for people. That is not incorrect. You have to just understand what is appropriate in that context. Like the first example, the person.
This is the man that I saw yesterday.
It's fine. It's fine. I would still stick to whom. Okay. I'd still stick to who or whom. whatever way you want to use it.
Sir, here another example: the shirts that I bought in January last have been lost.
What is the first word? I didn't hear.
The shirts,
The shirts that I bought. It's
shirts.
fine. That is fine
That,
because the shirts are a thing, an object. So that's fine. The shirts
okay.
that I bought. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We'll quickly discuss the first sentence. The man dash rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat. I want to be specific here. Okay. I want to be specific here. The man that rang the doorbell was wearing a red coat is not grammatically incorrect. What I'm trying to say is use who. Why? Because he's a person. You're talking about one person specifically. Then stick to who or whom in whatever context. Why do we want to use that?
Right,
to make
sir.
to make it easier for you, something can be grammatically correct. What I'm trying to say is, why not keep it simple and use something that is meant for something? Why not stick to who and whom for people and stick to that for things or a group of people? Make sense? We had that.
Right, sir.
Yeah, we had that fantastic example there about the East Europeans. There, it's perfectly fine. That's the reason. What I meant here was, if you're talking about a group of people, you're talking about the writers, the politicians that come and make hundreds of promises, never live up to those, okay, promises. So these are the politicians, or that, that is a politician. It's perfectly fine. That is a politician who made false promises. Then that's fine. A group of people, someone with some qualities, or some sect or a group, a part of a large group, someone who is you are talking about someone doing something in that particular field, like a writer, politician, actor, filmmakers, East Europeans, Indians. You're talking about a group of people. There you can use that. It's perfectly fine. But if you're talking about one person, stick to who or whom. It'll make it easier for you to understand the sentence, right?
Right.
I hope it makes sense. Yeah, just to keep it easier for you to understand. That's it. It's not grammatically incorrect, but we stick to the basics. That's why. All right. So well done, guys. Thank you so much. I will quickly share my coupon code, the coupon code that our learners can avail to become pro learners. There are huge advantages of becoming pro learners. Y'all can avail a 10% discount if you use a coupon code Amit10. Amit is my name, 10% coupon discount. The benefits of becoming a pro learner are: get invited to live classes like our learners who were with me today, practice on our Hello English app, which is incredible, thousands of hours of amazing courses, practice speed reading, intonation, pronunciation, etc. And basic courses can be downloaded offline and practice without internet as well. All right. This today was a lot of reading, a lot of explanations. So that's fine. Just practice the relative pronouns in your free time. Or I hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for your time and have a nice evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right.